Mr. Garven, for being here. You've been a great encouragement to me, and I'm just so thankful to have you here because I know you've been a big part of this church. And talk a little bit about the beginnings and your coming here.
Well, memory is a wonderful thing, and you can have as much of it as you can remember. And I remember 68 years ago when I was born again. I was 17, and Irving Larson became a very good friend of mine. Eventually, our pathways separated, and in 1969, Irvin had a vision of needing a witness in Youngstown, and he and several other families got together and purchased an old building in Youngstown, which was a former Lutheran church. And that's how it got started. The first full-time pastor there was Paul Harbaugh, and Paul Harbaugh was a missionary with AMOC, American Mission for Opening Closed Churches, which became American Mission for Opening Churches. And the big word there was excitement, because in 1969, first of all, Irving and Paul came to our home in Youngstown and asked us to pray about joining them and starting NFBC. But Charlotte and I were heavily involved in another church in Niagara Falls, and so we couldn't come. But in 1954, in January, the Lord opened the door for us to join Niagara Frontier Bible Church. I was asked at one point to be a leader in the church, and I served as they called it deacons at first, and then it became elders, and I had that position for 24 years. But as I mentioned, the big word was excitement. A lot of people started coming to the church, and through visitation, and we had a huge Sunday school. Well, it was a Sunday school for all ages, and people started coming, people were being saved, and also because of the preaching of the word and the preaching of the gospel and teaching of the word, people were maturing and becoming involved, and there was great excitement. And the church started to grow more and more, and in fact we had to buy 2 portable classrooms that we had in the back parking lot. Well, after Paul Harbaugh had to leave because his time was up and he was a missionary with the AMOC, Jim Thorne, former missionary who had just returned from Malawi, became pastor. And again, the word was excitement because the church was still growing, and all of us loved just going to church and Bible study and all the other things we did. We had the Vacation Bible School, and one young girl who came to the Vacation Bible School and was saved was so excited that she decided that after graduation from high school to go to a college in the South, Bob Jones College, and there she met a man who became her husband, Edgar Fagali, and they were married and they became missionaries. It started out in Lebanon. That's where Edgar was from Lebanon. Well, because of the growth of the church, we were outgrowing the facilities actually. Some property became available in the village of Lewiston. It was the Oblates of St. Francis that had it. It was a building that the original building was a man from Buffalo, judge from Buffalo. It was his summer home. And the Oblates had bought the property then, and they added a big sanctuary to it, and they spared no expense. And so that's, at that time again, the word was excitement. Pastor Jim Thorne was with the church for 5 years. Then we, of course, moved to Lewiston, and when we were there, that's when the pastor Thorne moved on, and Sam Jewell became the next pastor. And it was exciting at that time also with him. He was a very exciting preacher, and he, under his leadership, we started a Christian day school, which we had for 3 years. As a matter of fact, Charlotte taught in that for 2 of those years, and it was wonderful. Well, then after that, and Pastor Gilbert came, and he was pastor for over 19 years. And we were really growing so fast that we started 2 services. So he was a very busy man. He had 2 morning services, midweek prayer meeting and Bible study, and of course probably he taught Sunday school too. And it was the Sunday school was growing so rapidly that people were coming and being saved and being instructed in the Word and follow up, and became involved in many, many ways. In fact, many of the people who came, and some had to move because of work situations and moved to other states, they were saved in the NFBC and grew in grace and then went off to other states, and they're still going on with the Lord. I think Eleanor has contact with some of them, but it's so exciting. Well, then, after a while, we were outgrowing this facility in Lewiston, and there was no way we could expand there, and property became available where this present location. It was another had been a Lutheran church, and so so we came here. I think about 2004 maybe, and that was maybe about the same time, or a little after that Pastor Billy Crone came, and he was here for about 5 years, until now we have Pastor Shaw.